Hey everyone, Sean Clancy with Provision Financial, and today we are going to talk about Roth conversion and what that looks like. So let's first of all break the two IRAs down and talk about what they are. So a traditional IRA allows you to put pre-tax dollars in so that once you get into retirement or reach 59 and a half, you can take those dollars out, but 100% are subject to taxes, ordinary income. On the other hand, Roth is the flip side of that. So there is no pre-tax dollars. So the dollars that you're putting in on the front end, these are dollars you pay taxes on. But when you pull the dollars out, there is a potential that there won't be any taxes when they come out, if you meet two qualifications. Number one, you have to have maintained the Roth for at least 5 years. And number two, you have to be 59 and a half. If those two are met, when you pull those dollars out, there's no tax on obviously the basis, but the growth, because you've already paid taxes in the front end. So now we get to this idea of Roth conversion. And one might think of this, or one might think that this will be a good idea for a number of different reasons, but I'll explain an example right now. And that is, let's say, you're maybe 10 years from retirement, and you have a pretty good nest egg of an IRA or a 401k, and let's say you have $500,000 and you're planning your retirement. And what happens is a lot of times we think that in retirement, naturally, we are going to pay less money in taxes. And a lot of times that can be the truth, but really what it comes down to, whether you're in retirement or you're in your working years, taxes, for the most part, come down to what is your ordinary income. Okay, so a lot of times we think we're going to be making less income in retirement years, which again may be the truth. But if we have, in my example, $500,000 of pre-tax dollars, and I start drawing on that in retirement, all of those dollars are subject to tax. So let's say I want to maintain my standard of living and maintain my income in retirement years. Well, if I'm maintaining that and I'm pulling the same amount of money that I was earning prior to retirement, my taxes might be very similar. So what a Roth does is that allows us to pay taxes on the front end and not only have deferral of growth, but potentially not having to pay taxes when those dollars come out. So a lot of times what we see is clients say, hey, can I convert my traditional to a Roth so that in retirement, if I pull those dollars out, and I met those two qualifications, I won't have to pay taxes on that? The answer is yes, and that's where Roth conversion comes in. But it's not just, a flip of a switch, right? There are, some things that we have to do, obviously through planning. Now, what the IRS will allow you to do is convert, and you can do this over a span of years, or you can do it all at once. But the IRS is not just going to let you classify your traditional as a Roth. What you have to do is, let's say I want to convert $100,000 of a traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. In that year, I have to claim, in my example, $100,000 as ordinary income. So let's paint this picture. Let's say I bring in, I make $50,000 a year. In that same year, I'm going to convert 100,000 from a traditional to a Roth. In that year, I have to claim that I've made $150,000 because I'm doing that conversion. But it even goes a step further. That 100,000 that I then have to pay tax on, all of that, I have to come up with dollars outside of that investment to pay the taxes on that. So throwing a number out there, let's say I owe 20,000 or 20% in taxes on that 100,000. I would then have to come up out of pocket with $20,000. I cannot say, hey, 100 grand, take the taxes out, it'll whittle down to 80 grand, and that's my Roth. Can't do that. You have to come up with those dollars out of pocket. So when might somebody want to do this? Well, typically, if you're right up to retirement and you got a few years until retirement, typically it's not the best time to do that. One, because you have to have established the Roth for at least 5 years, but also you want time to get that benefit, right? So a lot of times what we see is if you're north of 10 years until retirement, that's probably the limit, or the soonest you'd want to start that process. Or I should say actually the latest. If you have many years before retirement, maybe it's a good idea. Maybe that's what you talk to your advisor about. And again, the overarching reason why we might want to do this is where we are from a tax standpoint right now. If we think that taxes are going to be higher in the future, maybe we start making conversions right now. And I know I gave an example of $100,000. It can be less than that, and you can do it over time. But if we think that taxes are going to be higher in the future, should we then maybe take advantage of lower taxes right now, do that Roth conversion so that in retirement years, I can capitalize on pulling dollars out of a Roth IRA with potentially no taxes. So all that being said, if you guys have specific questions, please reach out to us at any time. We would love to help. And I hope this was helpful, and have a great day. Thanks, everyone.